Joining us now for 5 insightful minutes is Marybeth Hayes. Marybeth is a former Walmart merchant executive, a trusted board member, and now a colleague of Ann's and mine at Simbe. And she is here to discuss the ongoing evolution of merchandising, a subject you all know is near and dear to our hearts here at OmniTalk. Marybeth, welcome to OmniTalk. Let's get started with this. What is different about merchandising now relative to even 5 years ago?
My favorite topic, merchandising. One major change that I've seen is that merchants now have responsibility for both in-store and for the online assortment instead of having two organizations. This is such a relief for suppliers. I work with a lot now who are often caught between two merchants. It's better for the customer because the product assortment itself hangs together better, right? And it's certainly better for the merchants because they can gain an even deeper understanding of customers and purchase behavior. Not to mean that it's easier, because as any merchant will tell you, a hit online may not transfer in store and vice versa.
Well, Marybeth, as merchandising teams are trying to kind of stay on the cutting edge, how would you recommend that they kind of try to capitalize on this new way of working?
The new way of working with having responsibility for online and in store typically comes when that change is made with a narrower product responsibility. So this should allow the merchants to truly become experts in the product and everything about that product category, from the brands, the need for a private label, what most matters to customers, and they can really become technical experts in the category and partners to suppliers in bringing new products to market.
And Marybeth, I imagine this comes with even more data now than ever before. They were already getting inundated, but how do you recommend that now, with a narrower product focus, that they use the data that they're getting to be successful?
There's always been, in my mind, two issues with data. And one is, can you trust it? And two is that for so long, I mean, hundreds of years of organized retail, it's always been backwards looking, right?
Right.
So now that, there are technologies rather that are being deployed, such as digital shelf labels, RFID, and certainly Simbe's Tally that we get to collaborate on. We're finally entering an era when the data can be trusted, right? So we can eliminate that pain point.
Right.
And since it can be trusted, we can now turn to AI to mine that data for trends that no human's going to see. And here's my favorite story. If we had this technology way back when, this would be different. Story of Blue Moon beer, which we always enjoy with an orange slice. Yeah. Well, when that beer came out, what the orange slice wasn't a thing yet. And the retailer that I was with, some really, really smart store manager observed that in his or her community, came back to the store, did pallets of the product together, and it was a hit that went up through the district. And then finally, nationally, we were asking the stores, please do that, right? Where your liquor laws, allow that. But think about that. That's oranges or in produce. And then of course you've got the adult beverage buyer. They're never going to see that connection. So it feels to me like AI and shelf intelligence is just bringing us out of the merchandising equivalent of getting smoke signals, from each retail store.
Yeah, the vodka buyer might be talking to the olive buyer, but the beer buyer's definitely not talking to the orange buyer. That's for sure,
right?
Marybeth. Right, yeah. But the other point that raises too, which I think is also important to think about, as you take that up a level, take it up to, say, the chief merchant level, which is what you were in your previously in your career. There starts to become some territorial overlap between the people that own the operation. So let's say, for sake of argument, the COO side of the organization and the chief merchant side of the organization. What advice do you have for navigating that blurring of lines, so to speak?
The relationship between operators and merchants, I think it's like cats and dogs, since the beginning of time. It's full of friction. But a lot of that friction is really productive. Operator ally is going to be the first one to tell you when this set isn't working or you're missing something. The packaging is just it's horrible. It's not good for the stores, right? And then the merchants are always they just want to see their set executed and, and the sales happen, and they want their inventories like always corrected and adjusted. But then the poor operator takes that adjustment. It can look like shrink, right? It looks like their shrink's out of control. So the endless quibbling over good faith receiving, execution, and inventory levels it's just unproductive, right? So just like, I mentioned earlier, we're over the debate about online business killing the stores. Shelf intelligence, like Simbe and our friend Tally, is going to move the industry past that squabbling and helping the operators and the merchants and supply chain provide what the customer needs and when they need it. So my advice to retail executives in this day and age is that when you deploy technology like Simbe and Tally, please do that cross-functionally. It's an enterprise level project that will maximize the investment when it has executive sponsorship from the chief merchant, the chief operator, and the head of supply chain to maximize the investment and utilize the data and take advantage of the whole suite of products that are available now. So welcome to the future.
Well, thanks, Marybeth. That was great.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.